And we're generating cash just like we always have. And we'll continue to focus on acquisitions first. That's the highest return for us and for our shareholders. And if we don't see the acquisition opportunities there, we're going to focus on buybacks and other ways to return that capital to our shareholders.
Hello, you're watching Proactive. I'm joined by Accesso Technology Chief Executive Steve Brown. Steve, very good to speak with you. The June heat wave clearly hit visitor numbers. How did July and August trading reassure you about your full year targets?
That's a great question, but it's important to realize that June was just 1 month out of the year, and it was quite warm, particularly here in the US, but other areas as well. It's interesting as we passed July 4th, which is kind of the bellwether of the trading season for us in North America for theme parks in particular. And it's like the skies opened up. The visitor volumes picked up, and in fact, what we lost in June, we gained in July. And what we've seen across August is a return to more stable trading, more in line with our expectations. We're still closing out the month of August, but the early look is that things are in line with our expectations. So we feel like we just had a bit of a road bump there with June, made up for it in July. Still have to get through Halloween and the rest of the year, but overall it seemed to be, more of a hiccup than a pattern.
You've highlighted stronger win rates under the refreshed commercial strategy. What changes have made the biggest difference so far?
I think, one of the most important things is just refocusing the team on particular products. We had kind of evolved with the recent acquisitions, right? We brought Paradocs in, we brought Horizon in, we've added OneRisk. We're now selling Freedom, quite rapidly. I think the team needed a bit of refocusing and really narrowing in on their markets and on particular products. It's hard to be an expert on everything. And allowing them to go a bit deeper with their markets and with their products, I think has really helped them improve the credibility with the client, improve the information that we're providing, and to just be overall more effective. I would say that's the primary thing, and also just focusing on more rapid response to our customers, enhancing some of our materials, all the things you do in sales and marketing. People think, oh, it's more salespeople, but a lot of it's about sales enablement. It's the elements you have behind the scenes, the proposal preparation, the quote preparation, how you go to market. All those are support team behind the sales director, and we've reallocated resources to help them be more effective. I think that all in total, it's really been about focus and about supporting them better.
How does the OneRisk acquisition fit into your broader strategy? And are there other bolt-on opportunities that you're actively considering, Steve?
We have a great product set and covered all the core elements between ticketing, virtual queuing, food and retail. And a lot of it going forward may be about bolt-ons and how we just continue to enhance and improve our margins on those products. In the case of OneRisk, it's a provider we've known for a very long time. All of our ski customers use OneRisk as a waiver provider. In the ski business here in the US, everything you do, you sign a waiver for. Rent skis, take a lesson, go skiing, all requires a waiver. And OneRisk was producing about 4 to 5 million waivers per year. And we felt like it was important, rather than having our customers rely on a third party, to bring that in-house to our product. It's also allowing us to customize it more so we can make it more bespoke to our product versus just using the integration tools that were available. So it's going to be an important competitive advantage. It'll make our product better. And importantly, I think we'll just accelerate our ability to go into markets with other products like Horizon. We're planning to use OneRisk with Horizon in Saudi Arabia, for example. Other areas need waivers besides just ski resorts. So it's going to become a nice checkbox on those requirement lists that we can also provide waivers as an integral part of our product.
Steve, you've been rolling out AI features like chat-based ordering. Can you explain how these will drive both customer value and revenues?
There's obviously a lot of talk about AI, and a lot of times I think it's on the presentations for the sake of making sure you mentioned AI. And we've been a little bit more quiet about AI and been thinking carefully about where will it have the most impact for us. Obviously, there's opportunities in development, software coding, operations. But from a product perspective, one of the key features has been more automated self-service, voice-based ordering, which is what we're developing. For example, I would like to book 4 tickets for the London Eye on Saturday at 10 a.m. Doing that by voice, having your Apple Pay or Google Wallet process that transaction, you're all done while you're driving your car, perhaps. And that is what we see as the next evolution on commerce. And it's important that we stay on top of that. And we have our prototype is finished for both our Passport and Freedom products. We'll be debuting that in a couple of months, and it'll be street ready here next year for customers to actually leverage. So again, making sure Accesso stays ahead of the game is really important.
With revenue slightly down, but profits and cash position stronger, what's your message to investors about growth prospects going into 2026?
On the revenue basis, let me hit something first. If we had a large hardware purchase last year of nearly $2 million. Hardware for us is almost a pass-through, very low margin. We did not have that hardware purchase this year. If you adjust for that, our revenue is actually up 1.2% on a constant currency basis. So we were a little bit ahead of flat, and they certainly weren't behind if you exclude that sort of, pass-through revenue. We're generating cash just like we always have, and we'll continue to focus on acquisitions first. That's the highest return for us and for our shareholders. And if we don't see the acquisition opportunities there, we're going to focus on buybacks and other ways to return that capital to our shareholders. We're currently working on a capital allocation framework. So we have a sort of decision tree, if you will, around how we leverage that available cash, which we expect to continue growing over the coming years. Right now, our share price obviously is a bit suppressed, unfortunately, which is frustrating. That may make a buyback more appealing. If our share price was much higher, it might make an acquisition more appealing, or a dividend more appealing. And so we're building out the framework for how we think about that longer term.
Steve, I hope you'll continue to keep us updated with your progress. Thank you very much for taking the time today.
All right, thank you so much.
Steve Brown, Chief Executive of Accesso Technology.